Hello guys, my name is Suhas hai, and in this video I'll be repurposing this old piece of hardware into a network attached storage for a friend of mine. This is pretty old and it's from the Core 2 Duo era. I don't know the exact processor model, but I know it works. So we'll be using this along with a couple of hard drives to make a DIY NAS. So let's get started. So I spent a couple of weeks figuring out all the hardware combinations I could use for the NAS, buying new stuff, buying used stuff, stuff that I had, and ultimately what I settled on was to use everything and anything I had without buying anything at all. So what I ended up was with this Core 2 Duo processor and LGA775 motherboard, 2 gigs of DDR2 RAM, and in FSP OEM power supply. This is 300 watts, sufficient for this build, and it's 80 plus silver, so it's really high quality. For the hard drives, I went with a 2 terabyte Constellation CS and a single terabyte WD Green. For the case, this is what I found. It's a pretty deep case, non-standard size. There are not any sort of power supplies, any sort of standard power supplies. Houses two 3.5 inches drive. Not much room for the fans as well. And the power button does not work, but we'll fix all that over the course of this video. So now I'll get started with cleaning and fixing all the stuff. And as you might see, it is pretty dirty. So we'll start with some superficial cleaning. I've installed the motherboard and I'm not really gonna bother myself with cable management. I'm just gonna shove the cables wherever I can find some space to shove them. That is pretty much it. And now the biggest task is to find a way to fix this non-standard power supply into this non-standard motherboard. And I have a few ideas. I'll try them. I was also thinking of, just shoving the power supply right here, but then routing the cable or cable for that won't be easy. So I'll just try and see if any of the screws do line up. You see, I've managed to forcefully screw a hole here, and this should allow me to mount the power supply with at least two screws going well in and secure. Alright, so I've assembled all the hardware of the NAS, and I've also added another 160 GB hard drive. It's an old drive, but it will serve as the operating system drive. So this is the drive I'll be installing OMV on. And as you can see, I've managed to clean it as well. It's all shiny. And I've also installed a fan here. This will keep the temperatures of the two actual hard drives which are going to store the data in check. The drives right here. And everything's all set. And now let's get to installing OMV. Alright, so the NAS is up and running right behind me. You can see there. And I've already installed OMV on it, and the steps I'll put in a link in the description which you can follow. And once you're done installing OMV, you are greeted with a screen like this. So since I had already previously logged in, so I'm still logged in. So this is your home screen or the home page, and you can see in the services only SSH is enabled, and you can see the system core to 4400 at 2 gigahertz. Alright, so first we'll get to the disks. So we have all three disks. This is the 160 GB on which the OMV is installed itself, the 1 terabyte and the 2 terabyte. And I'll start with wiping them. A quick wipe. Same with the 1 terabyte one. A quick wipe. Next I'll go into file systems and create one. Now it's initializing the file system. It can work in the background, so I'll do this for the second drive as well. Alright, so both of them are initializing. And now I'll go to user, add user, let's create a user. I'll give it my friend's name. So in groups, you can select what are the categories the user will belong to. So I'll make it Open Media Vault admin as well as Web GUI and save. So that settles us for the user. We don't need a group. And let's get back to file systems. It's still initializing. So you can apply your changes after every step or once you've done everything. So I'll just apply it just to show what happens. Alright, so the disks are still initializing and it does take a while. And in the meanwhile, what we'll do is we will install some plugins. So let's get to it. First I'll go into plugins. See, I've already installed a couple of them and I'll upload one. And this plugin is called OMV Extras. You can download it. I'll mention the link in the description as well, from where you can download OMV Extras. What it does is to allow you to download additional plugins. So once it's installed, we'll get right to installing a few more. Alright, so the OMV Extras plugin is installed now. Uploaded. Now we'll install it. You just click on it and install. That's it. So we'll install a couple of plugins for Wake on LAN, and we'll set the power management of the system. I won't be configuring Wake on LAN on this video, as I'll set it up once I install the system in my friend's house on his network. But I'll install the plugin here, and then we'll set up the SMB service so that we can see Windows shares. So the UI of Open Media Vault in itself is pretty neat, and this is my first time experiencing it. I've read about it, but I've installed it just for the purpose of setting up this NAS, and I've just experienced the UI just once before recording this video, so that just to know if I won't get lost while recording the video. That is it, and it is pretty straightforward. And if you think you need a feature, most probably there will be a plugin for it, so you can find and go onto online help sections to see how to install it and how to use it. And once the OMV Extras is installed, then I'll install Wake on LAN, and then we'll set up our shares. So now the OMV Extra plugin is installed, and you can see it's here, and we'll enable extra repositories and save. And once done, we'll head right back into the plugins section. Alright, so I've installed the required plugins, and as you can see, auto shutdown, USB backup, WL options are visible now. And now I'll do some power management, and power management, but for the drives. So I'll go in the disks option, edit, and what I'll do is I'll set it up for intermediate power usage with standby, acoustics to minimum performance, minimum acoustic, and I'll set the spin down time to 30 minutes. I'll do this for all the drives. Let's check the file system. So the file system is now online. Now we'll set the shared folders. In shared folders option, you add, name it disk 1. Okay, so the device is not visible. We'll just apply the settings first. Alright, yeah. So what you need to do is, once the file system is online, you mount them. Same with the other drive. You mount both of them, apply changes. And once both of your drives have been mounted, now we can set up the shares. So what I'll do is go to share folders, add, name it disk 1, set the drive, disk 1, and I'll rename it root followed by data. And the permissions will be administrators read and write, users read and write, others read only. Save. Do the same for the other drive. I'll limit this to, and mount point will be again same. Root and data, same permissions. Once done, I'll apply. Now we have our shared folder set up. Now we'll go into the SMB option, enable. I actually have no idea about the other options, but yes, we will enable SMB from here and add shares. So disk 1 data will be our first folder. And I will enable recycle bin to hold 3 days of worth of trash, and save. And same thing I'm going to do for the other drive. So now the SMB service has been set up, user has been created, shares have been set up. The NAS is now in its functional state. Any other features that you require, you can add them as per your own preference. So let's go to home. And let's get to dashboard. So the dashboard still does not show our SMB service is up and running. So yes, we need to enable it. Okay, shares are enabled, and now the dashboard should show yes, it has been enabled, and once we apply it, it will be in running state. And now you can see the SMB CIFS service is enabled and running. Let's just test it out. If I go into network, I can see the NAS, disk 1 and disk 2. So it will ask you for credentials the moment you open it for the first time. I already did it, so it did not ask me. And the credentials that you need to enter are the ones of the user that you created. So we have both disk 1 and disk 2 running. And what I'll do is I'll just copy test file 1 into disk 1. And I'll copy test file 2 into disk 2, and we will open task manager to see the utilization. So as you can see, it's saturating the 100 MB link, the 100 megabit per second link, but both the files are being transferred. The reason is that the network card on the motherboard is gigabit capable, but I don't have a short gigabit cable available since all the other cables are in use. But yes, and I have tested it with a gigabit cable, and it does saturate the entire 1000 gigabit link. So that settles it. Our NAS is up and running. So this is it for our DIY NAS video. If you liked the video, do hit the like button and comment and let me know what else you'd like to see. And also I plan to build a NAS of my own, and most probably I'll be using Unraid as the choice of OS this time. So also comment and let me know if you want to see that video, and see you in the next video.